One of the things I enjoy about hunting turkeys is all of the techniques and strategies you can use to get a bird within shooting range. Our last few hunts have been a perfect example of what can be done when you think out of the box and go after birds. We did everything we could to get our Arizona visitors a turkey in Minnesota's Season A. We got our first bird on a spot, stock, and call. Our second bird we lured across the field with a reaper that we made in the shop. On my bird we intercepted the gobbler going to the roost and shot him while he was trailing a hen. And lastly, my dad and I called in a tom off his roost into the decoys. This year, we really found out that every bird is different, and sometimes you just need to go get them. We filmed some great footage and got some birds close. All birds were shot on private land with landowner permission. The landowner was just as excited as we were. It was a true land shake. Follow along and enjoy these exciting hunts and footage from turkey season 2022. Good morning, everyone. It is April 15th here in Minnesota. It's about 26 degrees, another cold morning for us. The weather hasn't been super great lately. Yesterday we had 30, 40 mile an hour winds with 60 mile an hour gusts. Today is not as windy, but it's still a little breezy outside. We're gonna get on the west end of the woods with the west wind, so it should be pretty calm. East end of the woods with the west wind, and it should be pretty calm on that side. We're going to a new property, big timber, lots of gobbles, or lots of toms, lots of turkeys in there. We've been doing some scouting. We're hoping to just hear a couple gobbles, get underneath one, and call them in right in the deep hardwoods. So we're headed out there right now. We're gonna go listen, do some hoots, and see what we can find. Let's do this. Going into the weekend, we had been looking ahead at the weather conditions like we always do. Hunting in Minnesota, we knew that usually turkey season is typically pretty cold. What we really hate to see is when it's really windy, and this first weekend was. What made this first Season A so special is that we were having family members come from all the way up from Arizona to have their first ever Minnesota turkey hunts. So looking at the weather, seeing that it was going to be super windy was really disappointing. But we knew we were going to have to get really aggressive and find different ways to go after these birds. And that's exactly what we did. Friday would have been our first sit. And at the time, it was just me and my brother. I went out. We did a short sit. It was super windy. We heard a few gobbles extremely far away. So after that, we waited for our family to get off the plane. They arrived at our house at about 3 o'clock. 2 hours in, we drove around and we found a big flock of turkeys on one of our permission properties. I didn't bring the camera, but we saw these turkeys in a spot where we knew we could get to them. We snuck up on them, and we actually ended up calling in about 5 toms. It was just a spot and stalk. We crawled up a hill. Knew where they were feeding in the field and kind of had a general idea of where they were going to feed back into this big block of timber. So we snuck up to them. We called a little bit. They were answering. It was an amazing hunt. We called in 5. Wasn't able to get a shot right away, but then we had one sneak in from behind us, and my cousin was able to shoot that, and he was tagged out in the first 2 hours of his hunt in Minnesota. And that was his first Minnesota turkey. It was a super cool moment. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get it on film, but going into the weekend, it was more important for us just to get them turkeys rather than capture all the footage of them getting the turkeys. So fast forward to Saturday morning. Again, really windy, poor conditions. I took my uncle out to actually the same spot where my cousin had just tagged out. We went in, owl hooted, and we heard a few turkeys. A few gobbled back at us. I brought the camera along, but there really wasn't much action. After that, we started brainstorming, figuring out ways. How are we going to get aggressive? How are we going to be able to get within close to these birds with it being poor conditions and high winds? What we came up with is we said, hey, we have this old hen decoy. Let's cut it in half. We got plenty of fans laying around. Let's cut it in half. Let's pin a fan to it, paint the head red, and make it look as realistic as we can. And let's try reaping some turkeys. So we went around looking at a few of our spots on Saturday. Didn't see much for turkeys at all. Sunday, looking ahead, was actually going to be our best day, and we knew it. It was going to be really calm. The sun was going to be out. Still cold, but really calm, really crisp morning, and it was actually turned out to be a beautiful morning. So I went in with my uncle again, brought the camera along. We snuck into a spot. Gobbles everywhere. We heard tons of gobbles, but unfortunately we weren't able to call any in. They ended up feeding into another field that we didn't have permission on. So what we did, we got back to the car and we went to check out another one of our spots. We saw this Tom strutting out there. We knew he was in a spot where we're like, hey, let's grab the Reaper, let's grab the camera, let's wrap back around, let's sneak up this fence line, and we snuck up the fence line, got into this little pocket where this Tom was strutting out in the field, and we got into a spot where we could set up, hold out the Reaper, and start calling at him. And that's what we did. Unfortunately, we were able to capture this all on film.
Can you see him, Jeff? He's like 20 yards away. I need him to step to the right. Okay. Just let him keep coming. Yeah. There's another one behind him. If he gets to the right of that little tree, I'm gonna shoot him. Yep, shoot him whenever. Here he comes. You dropped him. Oh my God. Holy cow.
Later that night, we kind of used the same tactics. We figured, let's go check out some of our spots, see if we've got any strutting going on, see if there's any turkeys out there. We got to our last spot at about 5, 6 o'clock. We had maybe an hour and a half before they were going to go roost, and we spotted this Tom and a hen way out on this fence line. To try to briefly explain how this worked, is they were walking way out on a fence line, and they were going nowhere, essentially. So we knew where they were roosting, and we knew that the only way they were going to go to roost was they had to turn around. So what we did is, me and my cousin actually, we grabbed the Reaper, And we crawled up the fence line, got into a spot where we knew they were going to turn around and come back down this fence line, work back down this fence line. And essentially what we were trying to do was going to cut them off going to roost, while calling and seeing if we could just slowly inch him back into range, knowing that he would probably just follow his hen into roost. And so we circled back around. We grabbed the camera, grabbed the Reaper, and we snuck up this fence line, and we got set up.
Nice. The hen's still there. Let's go, baby! Want me to pick a setup? You had no shot.
No.
No.
That was awesome.
That was great. I didn't want to pull up my gun. He came in so fast at the end.
Yeah.
You know, that I didn't want to pull up my gun right away. Plus, I was like, he's totally committed, so
Yeah.
what the heck?
I didn't know how much longer I could hold this position. I was getting shaky. Awesome hunt. Well, that wraps up the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It was a super exciting couple hunts. I'm very glad I was able to capture some of them on the camera. We learned that there are a lot of different scenarios for turkeys and a lot of different styles you can go about killing turkeys. But the most important thing is just to remember to just get out there. With that, thank you guys for watching. Be on the lookout for more videos. And I'm excited to keep producing these videos for you guys to watch.